Episcopalian, has a hierarchy with bishops, and King Charles is the head of the church. In Scotland is quite different. The Church of Scotland is Presbyterian, no bishops, very flat structure, everyone's equal. And King Charles will never be the head of the Church of Scotland, not because we don't like the man, because the head of the church in Scotland is Jesus Christ. I don't think the monarch can top that one. Anyway, for this stop, Dynamic Earth, if you'd like to get off here and you need a ticket, have a chat with Vero. Discounted tickets, 10% off. Last entrance today is 3 o'clock. Is anyone for this stop? No one. So you're now looking at the back of the Scottish Parliament building. The grey symbols on the side of the building are meant to be drawn back curtains or drapes to show the openness and clarity of the Parliament. I like the cream coloured building with the red roof. You see that? Yeah, Dutch style. That's Queensberry House. The Marquis of Queensberry lived there. In 1707 it was the second Marquis of Queensberry. And at that time he had a 10-year-old boy who was a bit mad, a bit insane, kept him in his room out of mischief. One evening in 1707 the Marquis had to pop up the road to Murray House to sign the Scottish Articles. Brewery, very ugly brewery. Queen Victoria hated it with a passion, so they tried to disguise it. See what you think, they built a wall around it, tried to make it look a bit like a castle. Every summer, King Charles comes to visit Edinburgh, holds a garden party great in the view just over the wall there on your right. You can see the wall, that's where they erect the marquees. And coming up on your left, this is symbolic. The bodies of water represent the many lochs in Scotland. Loch Ness, where the monster lives, holds more water than all the lakes, reservoirs, rivers and canals in England, Wales and Northern Ireland combined. One Scottish loch. You wonder why we haven't found the monster. Brown rods on the front of the Parliament building represent the ancient Aberdeen forest. Very good view on your right of entrance into the North Towers. Coming up on your right is a physic garden, lots of medicinal plants. Anyone for stop 15, Queen Mary's Backhouse? No one. Coming up on your right is a small stone building, which is a Hobbit House. That is Queen Mary's Backhouse. Twice a year, Mary Queen of Scots will be splashing around in there, whether she needed a bath or not. 2 baths a year. That's one more than a bottle. Auld Lang Syne and Sing It New Year, that's the second most sung song in the world, second after Happy Birthday. On your right is the old Royal High School building, located in 1968, they moved to modern facilities. Look at that view out on your left. I know it's a bit misty, but I don't think I know of any other capital in the whole world that's got a view like that. An extinct volcano in the centre of the town. So come to the end of your tour, remember your ticket, if you've got a 16 or 18 pound ticket, lasts for 24 hours. Hop on and off as often as you wish. You can upgrade for the other £6, that will be fine.
The part of the National Office of Scotland buildings, and that's where all the best bits and narratives are recorded here from Scotland. So that's General Register House. The new building was one from last year, marks the start of Printer Street, which is the main shopping street that we have in Edinburgh. And it started off life as a railway hotel, and it still stands above the railway station, So that's the Balmoral Hotel that we have there, and Waverley Station is the main railway station that we have here in Edinburgh. Because of this, the clock of the clock tower on the Balmoral does run 3 minutes fast. This is to find out if you catch the trains on time, because it is the most visible clock in the city centre of Edinburgh and can be seen from the other end of the street. And the other day of the year that was actually set to time was on New Year's Eve, because we do have a rather large street party here on the street for New Year's Eve, and we want to make sure the party goes to celebrate the New Year coming at the right time rather than 2 minutes early. And then it gets set back to running into the street starts on New Year's Day. The Waverley Station at Waverley Mall, running after Waverley Station stop. So what's got is quite a lot of years in Scotland, not just in Scotland also, but most of the novels are set in Scotland. We did end up building a monument to him, it's just coming up on the left hand side here, and that's one of the tallest monuments to a writer anywhere in the world. So this is the Scott Monument. It stands 200 feet and 6 meters tall. And you can take a peek if you're in and find about 3/4 of the way up, and that's going to give you around 3:30 each day. And it's set to us to what Scott, the base of the Scott Monument there, and made out with a single space 1 block of royal marble. I'm now turning up and going into the new town here. So the new town itself was built during the reign of George III and started getting built in 1767. But the first phase of the new town was just Princess Street, George Street and Queen Street, and St Andrews Square on the east edge and Charlotte Square on the west edge. And with it being built during the reign of George III, a lot of those streets are named in Edinburgh. So Princess Street should actually be pronounced Princess Street. George Street itself, which we're going to be passing after George III himself, and Princess Street should be pronounced Princess Street because it was named after his son. That one is Barry. And then Queen Street, and that was named on Queen Charlotte. I think Andrews Square itself is here on your right hand side, and we are going to be doing a full circuit at St Andrews Square. And it is a public square now, but that's happened very recently in the square's history. I think up until 2008 it was actually a private square, and it did get some remodelling done in 2008 and received some public funds to help with the remodelling, and as part of the deal to receive the public funds it has to be open to the public. So that's why it's now a public square rather than a private square. And now when you're turning up here going around the square itself, and at the end of this side of the square you can see that blue bus, they're going to call in a big stop number 2 on the map, supporting the square itself. Coming along this side of the square, in between the gaps and the trees, you may be able to make out a monument in the middle of St Andrews Square itself. And this is the Melville Monument, and it's a monument to Henry Dundas. And he was the first Viscount Melville, so that's why it's the Melville Monument rather than the Dundas Monument. He had a naval career, and went into politics afterwards, and he still continues to remain in politics. And this is why I'm going to stop now, so if anybody wanting to get off to St Andrews Square. And when Sir Henry Dundas was involved in politics, or Henry Dundas was involved in politics, he was in charge of the naval finances. And he was actually impeached in 1805 because it was thought that he was actually mismanaging the naval finances. But he was cleared of all wrongdoing, and he was actually the last person within the UK to have been impeached. And he did get offered an earldom in 1809, but he refused this earldom because of controversy surrounding his impeachment. And there was a committee that was heavily involved with the Navy that was in charge of getting the monument built. And the monument itself did overrun by a couple of £1,000 because we did have to spend an extra £1,000 reinforcing the bottom because of the height and the weight of the monument itself. And as we come up this side of the square, as we go past the front stop here, if we do look to the left hand side, behind the rooms that we have there is the Dundas House. And it's now a branch of the Royal Bank of Scotland, so the Dundas family had that for about 50 years. So they did buy up the land and build the house, or have the house built themselves. And then after about 50 years they sold it to the Royal Bank of Scotland in the early 1800s for £38,300. And although the bank didn't change the outside of the building at all, they did remodel the inside of the building, so there is a dome ceiling on the inside of the building now. And it is still a public branch of the Royal Bank of Scotland. So you can go inside during banking hours and go and have a look at the architecture on the inside of the building. And the bank staff are pretty used to people going in just to have a look at the ceiling itself. And they have announced that they do have no intentions to close that branch down, so for the foreseeable future it's going to remain a public branch of the Royal Bank of Scotland. And as we come along this side of St Andrews Square, you'll see there's more modern buildings that we have on this side. And we have a lot of pubs and restaurants here, including the restaurant at the end, which is Bread Street, which is has Gordon Ramsay's name attached to it. So probably doesn't have much to do with the day-to-day running of the restaurant itself, But just having his name attached to the restaurant gives you an indication of the quality you could expect from going into the restaurant itself. And at this next junction we are going to be turning right again and heading down towards Queen Street. And this will be us going back up to the side of the square that we came into St Andrew's Square on. And when we went past George Street the first time, you may have noticed a statue on George Street itself. So, and some of you from here, if you look to where George Street is, you may be able to make out the statue from here. And it's a statue that's facing down George Street itself from here, to be able to gain access to the gardens themselves. And even then, being a resident isn't quite enough, you still need to pay a yearly fee on top of that. So it's around £500 a year to be able to gain access to the gardens as one of the residents of either two streets or the gardens themselves. And we are coming down onto the start of the street, but if you do look left here, or look right, I should say, if you turn left, you'll see the National Portrait Gallery there, and that was the first purpose-built portrait gallery anywhere in the world. And as we come along from the street itself, we are going to be heading towards number 9 Queen Street, which will be the building of the statues on top of it, and there will be some medical figures on the side of the building as we pass by. And this is where, in the 1700s, the doctors of Edinburgh would meet to discuss different ideas on how they can improve the treatment of their patients. And it was one of these doctors, a doctor by the name of Robert Sybil, who petitioned Charles II to get a royal charter for the building. So that building is now the Royal College of Physicians, because Charles II did agree to the royal charter. And there are a lot of other buildings along Queen Street now. But as we come along, in about 10 doors time, we do have the Christie Society building here in Edinburgh, number 28. And we'll see the Kaleidoscope Bar, which is the only bar that's open to non-members that we have within the building. And the Kaleidoscope Bar itself did win an award in 2022 from the Whisky magazine, and it was voted as the best open whisky bar in the world for 2022. But the Whisky Society does have about 4 or 5 bars in the building there, and the other bars that we have in there are decided this is probably a really good substitute for the Edinburgh. And one of the advantages that the architects have when they're coming out on these things is that there are no roads or buildings here beforehand. So they're able to place roads in specific places. The North Castle Street here that we're coming on was built specifically for the view of the castle that we're getting directly from the campus street itself. And at the top of North Castle Street, we are going to be turning right, and this will be taking us on to George Street. And you'll notice that George Street, the road itself is slightly wider than either Princes Street or Queen Street. And this is because this would have been the main thoroughfare of this first phase of the town. So the architects wanted to ensure that the horses and carriages that would be using the street were able to perform a full turning circle to make it wide enough for that purpose. And as we go along George Street, one of the last buildings on the left-hand side will be the Alexander Graham Bell pub. And Alexander Graham Bell was a resident here in Edinburgh, and he's credited with the invention of the telephone. There were several different things at the time, he just happened to be the inventor that had his idea patented first. But for Alexander Graham Bell, this proved more of a distraction than anything else, as he had actually been working on hearing aids, as well as writing some other hard of hearing. And it just so happened that one of these developments then came into the telephone. And he did find the phone that much of a distraction late on in life because he did continue to work on hearing aids, but he wouldn't even have a phone in the study while he was working. And he did live in the area, so when we turn onto Charlotte Square itself, you'll see South Charlotte Street in front of us, and you may just be able to see a blue door as we're turning on Charlotte Square itself on South Charlotte Street on the right hand side, and that door is where Alexander Graham Bell lived when he was a resident here in Edinburgh before he moved across to Canada and then eventually settled in the United States. But we do have Charlotte Square in front of us here, and Charlotte Square is considered to be one of the finest examples of a Georgian square still left standing anywhere in the whole of the United Kingdom. So when we went around St Andrew's Square, you'll see that there were a lot of modern buildings in St Andrew's Square itself, so a lot of the original Georgian buildings have been replaced. I know the buildings of Charlotte Square, not St. Charlotte Square itself have been repurposed. The original facades have remained, so it's still all Georgian facades that we have in Charlotte Square itself. And the style of architecture that's very prominent within the square itself, and you can see bits and pieces of it here on George Street, is known as palisade style architecture. Because especially once you get to the right, if you look to the left and right hand side of the square, the blocks of on the side of the square represented their palaces, rather than the 9 or 10 individual buildings that make up each side of the square. So the word palisade comes from the word palace. The type of architecture that is there. And Charlotte Square itself was originally going to be called St George's Square, so that we have St George's Square for the patron of England at this side of the square, and Charlotte Square there. So you will occasionally see either banks of photographers or printers on that side of the building there. So So that's usually a pretty good food that some Scottish people use as a back break between all turn around on the floors. But we are coming back down onto Queen Street here, and you will see cars parked just awkwardly around the city as well. So it doesn't really, especially when you're So if you're looking for some street at one, Rose Street probably lead that's quite a variety of different places to choose from. But Rose Street would have originally been built like a Clinton's street, because with the new town being built to kind of suit the field of carving of the old town, it did tend to be the richer members of Edinburgh that moved across the new town when it was first built, and they didn't want tradesmen coming through their front doors. So Rose Street was built, and then entrances got back doors, so the tradesmen could go through the back doors. And you may have noticed that there was a mirror street in between George Street and Queen Street, and this served the same purpose. And that is specific to and again, the name of Rose Street is specific, trying to reconnect the country to Scotland, with the Rose being national flower of England, and the Crystal being the national flower of Scotland. And as you come down here, we are going to be coming back down to the Street now, and you're going to get to the view of Edinburgh. Edinburgh Castle does predominate the style of Edinburgh, and it's still home to the Crown Jewels. So, unknown of the Honours of Scotland. So they are on display in the South, so if you have to visit the castle, you can go to the room where the Crown Jewels are. It's got painting or allowed to see the room that the Crown Jewels are on display in. But most of the buildings within the castle have got at least 1 or 2 rooms that open to the public, so it's well worth going in and exploring with the rooms that you have up there. As we get to the end of the street, after we get past the statue of the you do have the vehicles. So something we have on the side here is the Caledonian Hotel, which is another hotel that started off life as a railway hotel. But the railway station was here unloading the road closed down in the 1960s after the beach report. That's the crazy cuts that were made for the British railway system at the time. The railway station that was here fell victim to that. So the hotel itself is actually now part of the Waldorf Astoria group. And we have had some famous film stars staying, film and TV stars staying in the Caledonian. So it tends to be your older films and TV stars, the likes of Charlie Chaplin, Laura Hardy, Marlene Dietrich, and we have had Roy Rogers staying in here. And when Roy Rogers stayed here, he did have his horse Trigger with him, and he rode Trigger up the main staircase of the hotel itself. Nowadays, any pop stars or film stars that come in from the tend to stay at the Balmoral at the other side of the street that we passed at the start of the tour. But as we make our way up the graveyard here, you may just be able to make out a structure in the corner there as we're making our way to the end of the graveyard. And this would have started off life as a watchtower. So it will become more prominent as we back towards the end of the graveyard itself. The watchtowers were a pretty common sight in graveyards in Edinburgh in the late 17th and early 1800s. As there was a grave robbing and body snatching epidemic going on throughout the city at the time, because the medical schools of the city were only granting one body per year from the government. So it would be a condemned criminal that had been executed that they would get the body of. So the medical schools were in desperate need of fresh bodies for their students to be able to learn the skills they would need for their medical careers. So So they were willing to pay around £7 insurance for each of their body routine, which is the equivalent of around £800 nowadays, but would have been about half a year's wages for most people back then. And that's why the rich members of Edinburgh were quite willing to pay for guards to watch the watchtower there and look out even at the graveyard at night to make sure the graves are very